In the beginning of this module, we highlighted one of the biggest struggles we face is about the arrow of time. Particularly, it's not just about time management. We need to make a contrast between what is shallow work versus deep work, and design our work week that consistently protects deep learning. So, what are we to do? Here is the first tip. Automate for deep learning. Instead of deciding when to squeeze in some time, for example, when you have a no-show or cancellation client slot, make a pre-decision and block it in your calendar each week. This is also sometimes called a commitment device. Commit to what your learning objective should be prior to this personal development time. Much like how Ernest Hemingway ends his daily writings mid-sentence so that he could be propelled to return to it the next day. Before you end your scheduled personal development time, decide what you are going to focus on in the next schedule. This would help you string your efforts with continuity and momentum. I used to have Mondays 10 to 11 a.m. for deep learning, but an update as of this filming for more than a year already, my current deep learning time is between noon to 1 p.m. on Wednesdays, plus readings for about an hour or so every night. But I had to adapt it to my change in schedules several times since the start of this year in 2020, and also much more due to the COVID-19. Frankly, there were also weeks that went by that I override this deep learning time to keep on top of my various commitments. Remember Wuma Fenshi in the previous sections? It's been so frustrating, but what I'm learning is that the key is to become protective of such a time in your work week. The battle between timely and timeless matters, the urgent and important, timely matters always wins. Given our biases towards timely matters, timeless matters are an underdog that needs to be given a hand so as to tip the scales. So why automate this process of protecting time for deep learning? Because you are doing your future self a favor. You don't want to be cognitively taxing on a regular basis of what you should be doing. Instead, you want to lean on an automated process like code written into your weekly schedule that you apply based on your interests at heart. And Daniel Kahneman calls this the difference between the remembering self versus the experiencing self. The remembering self is somebody who looks back and evaluates how things have been, versus the experiencing self is the part of you that experience the unfolding of the moment by moment in your present life. When we automate time for deep work, we also need to automate time for shallow work. When we automate time and block it for deep learning, we need to also not neglect time for shallow work in our schedules. Cal Newport, the author of a must-read book called Deep Work, makes a distinction between deep work and shallow work. He defines deep work as a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capability to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. In contrast, shallow work are things that you need to do. For example, like replying emails, do the accounts, surf the web, check the news, and see your social media feeds, which are not cognitively demanding, logistical style tasks, and they are often performed while distracted. These efforts tend not to create much new value in the world and are easy to replicate. Newport goes on to explain the cognitive costs of task switching. When you switch from some task A to another task B, your attention doesn't immediately follow. A residual of attention remains stuck thinking about the original task. This residual gets especially thick if your work on task A was unbounded and of low intensity before you switch. But even if you finish task A before moving on, your attention remains divided for a while. By making a binary split between deep work and shallow work, and partitioning time for each, you start to reap benefits pretty quickly. When we have some sense of what to work on that has high yield on improving your outcomes, our motivation will follow suit. But more often than not, our efforts are diffuse, scattered, and not specific to our individual growth edge. As many of you stated in the onboarding survey of Deep Learner, you might be wondering at this stage, but I still don't know what to work on that can help me improve my work as a therapist. Fret not, we will cover this in detail in modules 2. Time is an escape artist. She's there when you're present and slips past your fingertips when you are not paying attention. Even if you're not an employee, no one's going to pay close attention to your personal development except you. And if you are in private practice, this might seem like a counterintuitive business decision to do, but you have to play what James Cars calls the infinite game. That is, the long game, and not to sell yourself short on the finite game. I hope you take the time.